pick every single game. You can see your boy up top, Dave Hellman, Shady, Joy Taylor. Joy, I'm going to let you explain yourself, actually.
I mean, what? 4 favorites? Lost? I got
4 big favorites.
smoked this week.
That's bad, dude.
Bucks, Packers. I got crushed.
No, here's where I made my ground, because last week Dave came and freaking got me. He got me. I was worried, y'all. But I picked the Seahawks to beat the Cardinals.
I did too.
I picked the Patriots to beat the Browns.
There you
and
go.
that's where you pick Lil Man?
I picked Lil Man.
Yeah, I went with Kyler. I also went with the Browns at home.
Those are my two.
Third string quarterback.
Yeah, Zappy. Bailey Zappy for the Patriots. Zapping them boys out there.
Is he?
You know there's a little controversy going on. I know like, fans are
Bailey
kind of
Zappy? Yeah.
It's not as cool as Rush Hour, but like Zappy Hour. Is that good?
I'm mad I'm in third place.
Zappy, attacky.
I'm bummed about that.
I can't believe I picked the
They call him
Chicago
Zappy
Bears
Fever,
to
is
win
what it
anything.
is.
There we go. We'll go with that. Okay, speaking of somebody who's not very happy right now, how about Russell Wilson and the Broncos? Another L on prime time. Offense struggles, overtime loss. That's their second overtime loss in as many weeks. Russell Wilson, 15 yards passing in the second half. That can't be right. There's no way that I am reading that right. 15 yards passing in the second half. Russ, what are you doing? Joy, I'm not optimistic anymore. First and foremost, let me preface with this. As a man, as a human being, I love Russell Wilson. Walter Payton Man of the Year, you see the emblem on his jersey. I love Russell Wilson as a human, as a man. I'm not optimistic about his time in Denver for this reason. You do not see great quarterbacks go from great to bad to great again. Great quarterbacks go from great to bad, or they go from bad/mediocre to great. But you don't see great, bad, great. Let me give you examples. Rich Gannon. Rich Gannon went from very mediocre to great late in his career. Brett Favre was great, and then he was bad, concussed in Minnesota. You think about Peyton Manning. He was great, and then he fell off the cliff in Denver. You do not see quarterbacks go great, bad, great. Some might suggest Kurt Warner look up his statistics to deduce your own conclusion, but you don't see great, bad, great. You see great, bad. You see bad, great. Russell Wilson has been great, and now he has become bad based off statistical metrics. I do not foresee him becoming great again because I've never seen it really at the quarterback position. If you fire Nathaniel Hackett because you blame Nathaniel Hackett, you're just going to give Russ another first-year head coach. I don't foresee that being great. If you keep Nathaniel Hackett, you're just wasting more and more of Russell Wilson's career. So the reason I'm not optimistic about Russ in Denver 2-5, because I don't see quarterbacks going great, bad, great. Once the quarterback goes bad, that's it. They don't go great again.
Is he bad forever?
Bad forever.
That's it. I'll say this. Now,
You
you
still
said
optimistic?
I am. I'm very optimistic about it. I think that he has a chance. I can't let 7 games, I can't let that define who Russell Wilson really is. Can we? We had some good years, right? So maybe he doesn't get it done this year, right? Maybe he's in a slump. Maybe the slump continues all the way to the end of the season. But next year, he has a chance. The contract they gave him wasn't just a contract for 1 year. It was a contract, listen, these next 4 or 5 years, we need you to compete for a championship, playoffs, and bring us a Super Bowl. He has a chance to still do that. So before I write him off, right, and say he's great and he's bad, I can't do that. I got to give him one more shot with this contract. If it's year 2 or year 3, as long as you get a win, that's all that matters. Because if he gets that win, we're all going to say Russ still is a GOAT and et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, Peyton Manning was dealing with some pretty serious injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And Brett Favre was basically at the end of his career. Mm-hmm. Russell Wilson is still in his prime, physically. He really hasn't had very many major injuries. So from a physical standpoint, you've got to be optimistic about how many years he has left to play.
Cosign.
There's no two ways about it. He's playing bad football right now. We've all had to sit down and watch it together in 4 primetime games. We've had enough. Thank you. Thank you for the break. We've had enough. But I have to remain optimistic about it because of Shady's point. I've already seen what he's capable of. I do also think that circumstances can change. It's not necessarily true. There are some names out there that could come into Denver if they move on from Nathaniel Hackett, which if the season continues to go the way that it is, they will move on from Nathaniel Hackett. Because also remember, they have new ownership there. Mm-hmm. They didn't hire Nathaniel Hackett. So if somebody's got to go, it's going to be the coaching staff. You know that. We all know that because you're not moving on from Russell Wilson. But I said this before the season started. I didn't think that it was going to be this bad, but I knew that this wasn't going to be a turnkey situation like it was with Matthew Stafford or like it was with Tom Brady at the Bucs. They had their coaching staff in place. They had some consistency with the other stars on the team with good coaching. They didn't have new ownership. There's a lot of stuff going on with Denver that isn't just Russ struggling with a new team. There's a lot of adjustment periods that are going on. We're extremely impatient. And again, we've all had to watch this terrible football together as a nation and suffer through it. So I'm with you. Like, I'm never going to get those hours back from my life, and I'm upset about it like everyone else is. But at the end of the day, I've got to retain some optimism that he's going to get back to what he was before.
Dave, before I go to you, Joy, I have to ask you this because you should know about this team and quarterback really better than most. Russell Wilson, interestingly enough, and Ben Roethlisberger have very similar and parallel careers. Both of them Ben won 2 Super Bowls, but he never won a Super Bowl MVP. Russell Wilson went to 2 Super Bowls. He also never won a Super Bowl MVP. You start to see Ben Roethlisberger decline around 34, 35, 36. 36, he passes for 5,000 yards, excuse me. My fear is after Ben got bad, he never got good again. He just got bad, then got unhealthy, then got bad. We've never seen Russell Wilson have a shoulder and then a hammy following last season with the thumb. He is old, and he has a lot of tread on his legs. Remember, Russell Wilson led the Seahawks in rushing with 849 yards in 2017. So how are you optimistic outside of blind faith?
I mean, it is blind faith, but where I would stop the comparison with Ben Roethlisberger is Ben was notoriously not good with his body. He did not take care of his body in the offseason. He didn't care about staying in shape. He came in and got in shape in camp. He was somebody who purposely took big hits because he was a big guy who made it very difficult for defenders to bring him down. He was not elusive in that way. So his body definitely had more wear and tear. Ben was also not the most cooperative teammate at times. I would not put Russ in that category. For whatever, people feel about Russ, Russ definitely tries with his teammates. He's definitely supportive. He's definitely the offensive teammates, I'm going to say that. Okay, like from the offensive side of the ball, he is. He's trying to work with receivers like we know he did in the offseason. So he's reaching out at least with the offensive side of the ball. So there's things that I would pause the comparison with Ben Roethlisberger, although I do see where you're going. With Russ, though, if it doesn't happen this year, I do still think there is time because you could bring in someone who is a veteran coach. There's plenty of them out there. Or you could bring in a new head coach. Brian Daboll's doing an incredible job with the New York Giants. We all look at them as a different team. We're going to talk about them in a second. It's remarkable what he's done there with a quarterback that we don't think is anywhere near as talented and is certainly not as accomplished as Russell Wilson. True. So there's a lot of factors that can change. You can bring in more talent. And I do think that if things don't go well this year with Nathaniel Hackett, this new ownership group will very much try to do that.
Dave, take us home.
You left the name out, and it's a great rebuttal. You're not going to like this. 'Cause he was never as bad as Russ looks right now. 17-19, Aaron Rodgers' play dipped pretty low by his standards. The Packers traded up to draft a quarterback because they were like, is this the end? Or are we nearing the end of Aaron Rodgers? Back-to-back MVPs. So that type, I mean, it can happen. And I give Russell Wilson the benefit of the doubt that in the long term, he can find his old form. I'm not optimistic that it's going to happen here, now, in 2022. Not with the AFC the way it is right now. But I am definitely not writing him off for the length of that contract.
I love what you said about Aaron Rodgers. In roughly 29 minutes, I will tell you all my rebuttal. But for now, I got to talk to you all about the Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles. Remember, the Eagles beat the Cowboys on Sunday night, but Dak Prescott is coming back. Dak Prescott is 25-6 against the NFC East. He's 7-3 against the Eagles. So in theory, the Cowboys should be the best team in the NFC when Dak returns. Right, Shady? We'll find out his answer.